I know y'all lying to me. I know y'all lying to me, y'all. Okay, it's your girl Duchess, and Ruthless is back, y'all. I'm gonna be honest with you. I think I done missed the whole season. Honey, it's too much. We made it through Sisters, girl. I made it through Sisters, but y'all, Ruth, baby. Okay, so let's get into this review. Okay, so we're gonna combine episode 1 and 2 together, and then episode 3 looks like where it really starts getting heated. So we'll do that separately. So it opens up, and the FBI has ascended onto the compound. So there's gunfire there or conflict there. The cartel is also doing their thing. So there is gunfire there and conflict there, and it's nighttime. It's chaos. The highest has been kidnapped. And so people are trying to escape, get out of this cult thing. You have some that are waiting behind the women, the older women, the elder woman, and some of them that are waiting behind and willing to die for the raccoon. And then you have Ruth, who is trying to get to her daughter because she knows her daughter left on a bus, right? So she's found a car that she can get to run, and she's following the bus, and they're stopped at this field. The highest, who has been kidnapped, has learned that Ruth gave his money to the kidnappers, the people that basically switched over. They did a coup, basically. And so it's 2 men and a lady who have him hostage, and they're driving, but they've come under fire. They're outside the vehicle using the fire for kind of like cover, and the girl gets shot. So shot in the head. So one of the guys is freaking out. The other one is like, man, what are we going to do? Where's this coming from? XYZ. Up walks Daikon with a gun and 2 other guys with a gun. So they have found ammo, of course, and they are there to save the highest. To send a message, Daikon shoots one of them in the arm, and, they take them hostage. So the highest is saved. Ruth sees her child on the back of the bus, and they're, screaming the chant, they are the children of Raku or something like that. And what I don't get is she notices Callie. She get out of the car and she's screaming Callie. She see the man getting on the bus, and instead of her going back to the car to follow them because it doesn't look like he saw them, she is devastated because Callie is gone. And I get it. I just don't know why she didn't follow him. Anyway, there is another group who is like of the younger generation. One of the girls have access to $2 million at the bank. And so it's a guy and 2 girls. I think one of them have children whose child is also missing. But they're trying to get off of the compound, and they're navigating, and they know that it's all types of traps for when people try to escape. And just as the one who has access to the $2 million, who is very valuable to them in making it to the bank, that's where they're trying to get to, she gets her leg snapped by a bear trap. And oh my goodness, like the way the pain that she's in and the panic that everybody's in. So they're stopped. He is trying to get the bear trap off. The 2 girls leave. They're like, the FBI is out there. We got this going on. We got to go. So they leave. Meanwhile, the highest shows back up to the compound with Daikon and the other 2 security people. The ladies, the older ladies, the elder lady and the women, the ones who stayed, are there, and they ready to fight for the raccoon. I want to say that Daikon and the highest are in a relationship. Like, he is completely under his control and will give his entire being for him. He loves him, and it's a sick kind of thing because, they're basically in a relationship. He is also in a relationship with Ruth, and Ruth is carrying his child. So Daikon and Ruth kind of compete for the highest, but they're all in this thing together. Anyway, when he saved him, I forgot to mention that when Daikon saved him, the way he was kissing on him and, thanking him, and Daikon was just like, whatever I can do, I will do anything to save you. Like, he is totally, totally, totally under his control. And Daikon is also the leader in command. And so that is how season 1 has started out. My bad. That's the scene for episode 1. So yeah, I had forgot how hard it was to look at Mother, how hard she is to look at. As a matter of fact, I think the last time I saw her, she was making some boy give her some Peter. So yes, ma'am, sister girl is hard to look at with her mouth wide open, all the theatrics as the highest has returned, and her just, oh my God, the highest, she come back to save us. We are so, child. She is there, excited. She got the women together. Honey, they are kicking, you know what, and taking names to anybody that will stop them for fighting for the Raku. She don't give a about all the firepower that's going on out there. Her and the remaining loyal ladies are ready to fight for their lives, honey, with pitchforks and axes and I mean, you name it, they got it. So they out there singing in the woods about the right way to die the Raku way, and Elder Mother gets shot. Tyler know he can make people be crazy though, so she bring her crazy self, Gimp walking on back to the same people she slapped to go fight with her hand bleeding, you know, and they like, look, we gotta figure something out because we outnumbered. She is like, we fight for the love of the Raku, and the God, whatever his name is, the Raku has smiled on them and they lack faith. They are challenging her because she clearly is crazy. Like, nobody believes this stuff. They believe up until they can't believe. Reality is setting in, but she's not trying to hear it. They need to go and gather up the dead bodies and make themselves useful, since they ain't got no fight in them. They being all punkish with no faith. And the ladies and all, they, you know, they garb, they covering, they glide on through. And it looks like everybody is back where they started. So the Raku Hotel has shot up the place. There's a lot of casualties, but Elder Mother and a bunch of the ladies survived. Ruth caught back up with two women who were escaping and convinced them to come back with her. So they put their robes on and they come back. They run into Elder Mother and she doesn't suspect anything. She's just grateful to the Raku that they were saved too, and that they made it through all the hailstorm of the fire and stuff of it all. So Ruth asserts her authority with Elder Mother because she's questioning her. The highest wants to address everyone in person under the pavilion. It's a special night. He may heal some people just by his words. And they don't want to miss it. She wants to get into his quarters. She's saying that she's going to freshen it up, and she make the girls stand hostage. Not hostage, but really stand watch. And so when one of them kind of questioned her a little bit, she's like, do you want me to slap you again? Like, Helen's like, I told you we shouldn't have come back with her. That lady's, Ishbay is crazy. Anyway, so she's in there doing what she's doing in the house. She thinks the girls are waiting, but brother somebody who is one of the guards come up and make them go ahead and head to the pavilion. So the highest delivers his speech with much less members, nonetheless, but there are members. And his message is basically expect a big miracle, and the Raku has shined on us, and, you know, it's a message of victory. He and Daikon get back to the his quarters, and Ruth is already waiting, honey, in her negligee, looking all chocolatey and smooth and ready for action. Daikon is campaigning for him not to trust her. You know, she gave your money away and she traded on you and all of that. But Ruth is very smart because thought she gave them $300,000. She really tricked him, and he still has his $3 million in the safe. So he trusts her. Ruth lets him know how much her body is different from the pleasures that she can offer. And Daikon, no matter how hard he tries. And baby, the highest could not resist. So they all in the bed. They ain't got to fight over him. It's room for everybody. Daikon can't stand her. She can't stand Daikon, but they all naked doing what they do. Girl. Ruth pregnant too. I didn't know that. I'm still shocked by that. I may have known that. Anyway, maybe I thought she was pregnant by Daikon. She used to have him weak in the knees. Anyway, the guard comes in. They don't care about anybody seeing them in all their, Adam and Eve splendor. There's a man there who wants to see them. It's really the trainer of the kids who the guy Ruth saw get on the bus with her children. So this is the gift that the highest has sent them, or the Raku gods have sent them. And this is the gift. So everybody gathers on the pavilion again, and here comes the children marching in like little soldiers, trained and ready for war. They will do what they need to do for the Raku, completely obedient. So one of the ladies sees her daughter, and her heart leaps, and Of course, Ruth laid odds on her baby, who is like the lead one. And it's my understanding that they wanted to kind of traffic these kids. So that's the end of episode 1. The children have returned, ready to serve. And we know the Raku is sick, y'all. But moving on over to episode 2, let's get into it. So Ruth has to discipline one of the mothers. Because of course she's upset and she can't let go that this is her daughter, and they're already sending the message that these children no longer belong to you. They belong to the Raku. So get over it. And the highest orders Ruth to handle her and take care of her. And Ruth does, like she basically like, cut it out, itch babe. Like, you know what this is. I got a plan. Stop it before I have to hurt you now. For real now. It's a good thing at least the children are back. Yes, they're brainwashed. And no, they don't know that they belong to us. But I got a plan, and I am going to figure out how to get them away from this man. In the meantime, keep it mute. So the highest is giving his message of faith. We low in numbers, but we got faith, and we going to do this thing. I mean, everybody's present, but not everyone is buying it. They're kind of grateful for all the fake cheering or maybe real cheering, so they can get their laughs out. Ruth is walking around the compound and works her way onto the trainer for the kids and see them out running and doing what they do. They have each other's number. He is aware that Ruth is there scouting for her child. He's not convinced that she understands that baby no longer belongs to her, and he has his eye on her. And Ruth is being very cold and calculated. She got the plan, and she's carrying a baby. So, they see each other. So the FBI team are back at their office, kind of recovering from all of the gunfire, firefighting of it all. They bringing in the hostage, one of the women who was a sniper. I think she was kind of like rogue with another team that had planned to rob them maybe, but she had issues with the cartel. I'm still not sure what her role is, but they did capture her. They bring her in reluctantly. She's doing all her drama, but she's on her way to solitary confinement. I think that's what they said. Back at the camp, Kid Trainer did not waste any time telling the highest about Ruth coming to see those kids. So he questioned her, and she told him, listen, I just wanted to see how you did it. The kids are so behaved. They're not defiant anymore. It's such a drastic change. I just wanted to see it. He's like, oh, you wanted to see it, huh? Come with me. Let me show you something. So he takes her to see the quote unquote prisoners, the guys who turned on him and kidnapped him. They have decided to reprogram them instead of offing them because they need the bodies. So they're in this place chained up, being tortured, really. He's reprogramming their mind right now. So what I think he's doing for Ruth is kind of like showing her, if you betray me, you can end up here. Like, he's suspicious of her, but basically they're playing chess with each other. She's playing it so cool and she's so calculated. They have not caught her slipping up yet. She's like a couple steps ahead of them and very convincing. But this is where they are. He's playing his god-awful opera, kind of whatever, and it's coming all through the compound. Elder Mother is in, I guess, what you would call the infirmary, where they're kind of nursing the sick, I guess. The young lady, they did say her name and I've forgotten it already. The one who has access to the $2 million, who got her ankle trapped in that bear claw. Well, she's still hanging on by a thread, although she wanted them to just let her go ahead and fade on out. Because really, the majority of them still want off this compound so bad they would rather go ahead and phase on out and meet the Raku than be back there. The Elder Mother tried to stop the bleeding by using dirt, so they are sure that it is infected. So she's kind of hanging on by a thread. And Ruth has convinced the highest that music playing through the compound, the sick people don't deserve that, and they're still on site. They're just put away so that he doesn't have to see them. And so he wants to go and see them, and he agrees to put like this little video on that only the prisoners can hear. And so the highest is on his way to see the sick. So they actually see all the wounded people, and they're talking. And Ruth is trying to pick him about how much power this trainer guy has over him, sort of thing, but not really. She has to tread carefully with him. And a follower comes up and she's distraught. She understands she's not supposed to approach him, but her sister was hurt and he wants her to heal him. Ruth kind of tries to save him because we know this man don't have no healing power. And so she tells the girl that, he doesn't have time, but he cuts Ruth off and tells her to get her sister, have the women to prepare her. He will heal her. And he is who decides he decides who he heals and who he has time for. Ruth does not have that authority. So he's kind of putting Ruth in her place and letting her know she's doing way too much. So he gonna try to pull it off, y'all. Meanwhile, the female FBI agent, she just cannot get over that they let him slip away. And she has offered herself to go in as kind of like a negotiator. And of course they advise against that because it's never good when an agent comes in there, goes into that compound. But she's convinced and they're actually on site. So y'all, Ruth and Daikon know that he cannot heal this girl. Daikon is like, he's way too volatile right now. He can't do it. Child, he couldn't do it anyway. But he leaves it up to Ruth to fix this problem because he told her, well, he didn't really tell her why he wanted him away from the wounded people, but he did try to keep him away from him. She exposed him to it, so she's going to have to fix it. Because if he tries to heal this girl and he doesn't, he's going to lose his followers. Child, he coming in. These men got him on a chair and all his white, carrying him like he's an Egyptian prince or Egyptian god or something. I mean, this is the show. So Ruth tried to kind of like cut him off at the pass, run up to him talking about how much she loved him and, you can't heal this girl. What are you doing? And he goes off on her like, you don't believe me. You don't believe in me. And he started doing this thing, calling on the power. And the girl get to coughing and whining and, whatever. So he's doing it. And he's at the part where he's wanting to heal all her pain. And it turns out it's the girl with the bear claw. And they say she was practically DOA. But anyway, he's doing it. Helicopters start coming, like they can hear the helicopters coming, and that makes him stop in his tracks. And he says that this is a sign. So the alarm is going off. I guess they're about to get into battle mode. The FBI agent is on her walkie-talkie like, stand down, like, what are y'all doing? Who authorized this? And her partner's like, I'm here to keep you safe. They'll be here. She's upset because she knows the highest is not stable right now, which makes him vulnerable and which puts a lot of people's lives at risk. Meanwhile, Elder Mother is in the herb room or whatever, preparing the drinks for the kids, because with this alarm sounding, the kids are going to drink this drink in faith of the Raku, and it's poison though, so it will actually unalive them. And he gets a cup. Everybody else fights to save him. So Ruth sees her daughter with this cup in her hand, and the highest is giving his speech on, how beautiful this is and what a moment it is, and, glorifying the Raku for this moment. And he asked to bring him his cup. And Elder Mother is walking up to bring him his cup, because once he drinks that cup, the kids have to drink it too. Ruth is trying to get her daughter's attention. She's like, Kelly, and Kelly's like, my name is whatever. So her whole name has been changed. And Ruth is going through it and trying to keep it together at the same time. How is she going to keep her daughter from drinking this poison if it goes down this way? And that's the end of episode 2, y'all. Did y'all see it yet? Drop down in the comments and let me know what you think. I am out. Thank y'all.